Okay, folks, so time for part two of the segregation video. Did put part two up there, that was good. So part one, we learned how important it was to correctly identify your materials, right? So part two, we're gonna kind of separate the shoulders from the joints, right? So first thing you need to do is go to 177.848, which is your segregation table. And so to use that table, basically what you're gonna do is find one item on the side, the other item on the top, go to their intersection, and at that intersection, there will be one of a couple of things. So we're either gonna have a blank space. That means your two items can go together. If you wanna see what that looks like, if you will take class 3, follow it all the way across to class 8, you're gonna find a blank space, right? So that means that those items can go together. Not on the chart. One of the items you're trying to figure out is not on the chart. So you've got a flammable liquid, and you've got a class 9. Well, class 9 is not on the chart. If DOT didn't bother to put it on this chart, they don't care where you put it. Big examples of that: 6.1 zone B, plain 6.1, any solid 6.1. Any 6.1 that's not an inhalation hazard zone A liquid is not on this chart. 2.3s, 2.3 zone A and B on the chart. 2.3 zone Charlie and Delta, not on the chart. I mean, it's really important to check that stuff, right? So anything not on the chart, we put it in where we want to, doesn't matter. Take two items and we go to their intersection, we find an X. That means they can't go in the same transport vehicle together. Now, there's a whole discussion of transport vehicle versus motor vehicle. Your instructor will cover that in the class. Basically, all we're trying to figure out is separation of transport vehicles. So I'm not going to get real deep into that discussion of transport versus motor vehicle on this video at least. And then sometimes we'll find an O. And what the O means is that if there is sufficient room to separate, or sufficient room that you can prevent those two items from commingling together, then you can put them together, right? And so in class, we will tell you what the O means. So in class, when you read the question, look for the part of the question that says an O will be treated as a blank space. An O will be treated as an X. That's what you're looking for, right? And you do that, you're in good shape. So again, quick recap: blank space is good, X is bad, not on the chart. I put it in where I want to, and the O, we will tell you where to put it. So with that little bit of information, and then also one other piece of information. Sometimes on the left side of the chart, it takes a couple of lines to explain what we're dealing with. So for example, if you look at your hazmat, or not your hazmat table, but your segregation table, and you look on the left-hand side, and you look at dangerous when wet 4.3, you'll notice it takes more than one line to explain that. The data, the X's and the O's and the blank spaces you're looking for are lined up with the first line. If you look at the very top, you see 1.1 and 1.2. The very first line is what you're looking for, right? Those return lines don't contain any data. They don't contain anything, right? So we want to make sure that we do that. So here, we're going to segregate this shipment, right? So we're going to do what we did in part 1 of the video. We're going to look this stuff up. So we look up bromine, and I would encourage you to pause it right here. Look these items up for yourself, and then compare the data that I give to what you find. Find what you need to know to segregate them. Answer those first 4 questions we gave you in the part 1 video. Now, what we know is that bromine is a primary 8. It's a subsidiary 6.1. And we know from column 7 that it's a zone alpha. Okay? We know that this mic 203 is a 1.1 delta. It is not a firework or a detonator. We know gasoline is a class 3. And we know calcium carbide is a 4.3, dangerous when wet. So this is what my items are. Now, this is the way I like to segregate this. You can do it how you want to. I can tell you this system, though it seems a little bit childish, works really, really well, very effectively. So what we're going to do, this is our loading dock, right? We're going to play a little game, and that game's called 10 light. We're going to 10 light. This is the loading dock, and these are trucks. So we got truck 1, 2, 3, 4, or transport vehicle if you prefer. So what we're going to do, we just take bromine off the first truck. We're going to put it or off the loading dock, and we're going to put it on the first truck. And that is our step one. First thing we're going to do when we actually get into the segregation of it. Then we're going to see if this Mike 023 will go in the first truck. Now this is pivotal. We have to always try to go into the first, then the second, then the third, fourth trucks. So we look at 1.1. For 1.1 to go in here, it has to be compatible with the 8 and the 6.1 zone A. And I'm going to remind myself that that 8 is a liquid, right? And it does count. Now what you see here, these are just footnotes. This is just scribble. This is just scratch. This isn't going to get written anywhere else. What we're trying to do here is determine what goes together so we then can generate our shipping paper, right? So 1.1, we compare it to an 8, we get an X. That means that a 1.1 can't go with an 8. Well, I don't have to check the 6.1 because for the 1.1 to go in this truck, it's got to go with both. So now I know I can put my 1.1 delta here, right? Simple as that. Then I just go to the next item. Will the 3 go with the 8? Yes, 3 will go with 8. 3 is compatible with 8. But will the 3 go with the 6.1 zone A? No, it will not. Because of that, can't go. Again, remember, if I'm going to put something in here, then it's got every class it's got has to go here. 3 and a 1.1 delta, again, I get an X, and that means it can't go there either. So the 3 ends up in this truck. Slowly but surely, at sheer federal employee rates, I am getting this dock unloaded. 4.3, will the 4.3 go with the 8.61? Nope, will not. I get an X, right? I get an X with the 1.1, but with the 3, I get a blank space. So what that means is I can put the 4.3 on that truck, meaning I need 3 trucks or 3 transport vehicles. Reminder, our objective here to get to the fewest number of transport vehicles. Okay. Now, this should suffice as a pretty good explanation of both non-ammo to non-ammo and ammunition to non-ammunition. You'll notice there was one symbol on the chart that I left off, and that symbol was the asterisk. The reason I left it off is because I'm going to cover that in the next video because dealing with explosives takes a little longer. And what that asterisk means is turn the page. And if you'll turn the page from the segregation table you're on now, you'll see a brand new table. And that table is there solely for segregating explosives against each other. But we're going to cover that in the next video. So, hope you enjoyed this. Hope it worked out for you. And remember, the best way to ship hazmat is don't ship hazmat. Have a good day.